Guys, I'm not sure how to make this video. As many of you probably know, May 8th, Square Enix had, as far as I know, their longest stream ever. A 5-hour stream of the We Are Vana'diel campaign, celebrating the 20th anniversary and 20 years of our favorite game, Final Fantasy XI, which is really cool. Unfortunately, I kind of walked away from it with kind of a sour mindset, which is why I've hesitated to make this video all week, because that's not really me. That's not how I want to view Final Fantasy XI. It's not what I want to portray to the community, which I think has been growing over the past few years, despite all odds of this aging game. And it's amazing to see that the community rallying around such an amazing, great title like Final Fantasy XI, and hope for the future and what's to come. I don't want to detract from that, but I still do have opinions on what the stream was about and how it was handled, and the information that was shared, which I do want to talk to you guys about. So I guess let's get into it. So it's kind of a weird time to be a Final Fantasy XI fan. We're celebrating the 20th anniversary, which is coming up quickly. I don't know what the actual date is. I should look that up. I do think that some announcements supposedly are coming, but we're seeing a lot of rumors all over the place, and it's hard to nail down actual facts and dates, sometimes due to translation issues, which more on that in a second. And others just, lack of communication, which is another big one that we're going to talk about. But let's get back to what this is all about. The stream, the 5-hour stream from the developers of Final Fantasy XI, and what it was and what it wasn't. First off, a couple core complaints, which maybe are unjustified, but I can't help, this is how I feel. I did try to wait a few days to settle it down and see if it kind of, wafted away, and the initial, frustration went away, and it really hasn't. And I'll share why. So the biggest thing is the stream itself. And as a longtime fan of the game, as a Western community English speaker, access to the stream was and remains difficult. Obviously, I don't mean ability to see the stream. It's out there on YouTube, but there is no English translation. There wasn't at the time of the live stream. Some of it was pre-recorded, so I thought that was an interesting choice. There were ways they could have prepared for that. It wasn't their focus. That's okay. Also, the time. The Eastern time zone was not the focus point of that stream, and that's okay. Again, it's a Japanese game made by Japanese developers. A lot of it was live. It should be at a time that makes sense for that community. I was more frustrated than the time by the lack of any kind of English translation. The only way for me to follow it all really was to watch the amazing minute-by-minute sort of following of the minutes and translation of a recap of Funkworks on Final Fantasy XI auction house, FFXI which was fantastic. Thank you so much, Funkworks. You were really the only way that I could follow what was going on. But it made it difficult to watch the stream at all, because I couldn't follow. There were at the time, no subtitles. So I couldn't follow at all. Now, there are subtitles, but in Japanese. And you can use YouTube's auto-translation feature to translate the Japanese subtitles to get kind of an idea of what's being said, but it's an auto-translate feature. It's sort of missing context. And with games, where there are unique phrases and terms that have, certain meaning to the gamer, that doesn't help a ton. Again, I didn't take this a ton, personally. It just made me sort of feel like, as a member of the English-speaking community fan base of Final Fantasy XI, we weren't really the target. And then as there continues to be weeks, a week has gone by and there's still no translation to the stream, it's not even for us, which is, it hurts a little bit. We're a huge part of the community, the United States and European base of fans. But anyways, that wasn't really what I came here to talk about. But my point is, I still haven't really been able to watch the stream. I can flip through it, get ideas of what they're talking about. Obviously, there are translations done by fans and community members, but it's hard to parry up with the actual stream footage minute by minute. So even if I wanted to watch the 5-hour stream, I really can't. Having said that, I also keep mentioning it's a 5-hour stream. I am frustrated at the length. It is a long stream. It's great that they show this much support, and I've loved the evolution of the We Are Vanadil campaign, showing amazing interviews with various peoples in the industry, both from the Final Fantasy XI development team and outside of it, and how Final Fantasy XI has either impacted or affected various members of the community, and little tidbits and hints into various fun or strange parts of its development process. I love that they've gone into that detail. This seemed like a huge capstone on top of that process. But 5 hours is a long stream, even for dedicated fans. That is a long single block of stuff to watch. So I thought it was an interesting choice to just push out this one gigantic stream and be like, here you go, huge celebration, which is cool. Like, don't get me wrong, I love that we're celebrating the 20th anniversary, and I don't mean to sound negative, because it's amazing that this game is still out there after 20 years to be celebrated. But I just still thought it was a strange way to push out all of those, amazing thoughts about the history of this amazing game. Loved, the people that got involved, developers from over the years. It's awesome to see, like, the old crew back in town, the whole team's back. But yeah, it was just weird. It was hard for me to enjoy it. I kept kind of checking in on, like I said, the FFXI thread to see, what was being announced, what was happening, and what they were celebrating. It was just kind of a weird way to follow what should have been this momentous, glorious moment, but it was just tough for me. It was one of those times I really wished I spoke Japanese. But having said that, enough of my rant about how the information was pushed out. Let's talk about what was said. There weren't as many announcements as I kind of expected, and maybe that's my fault. I don't know if I expected this to be their moment where they kind of really shine through and they're like, this is what's coming for 11, this is the future. It really was more of a, this is where 11 has come from, this is where we've been, we're celebrating that. And that's okay, which brings me back to a little bit of the communication element, that if that's what this was going to be at its core, I think maybe that could have been communicated a little bit better by the team. They've been talking for years, and they continue to get excited about and bring up the 20th anniversary is bringing something big for players of the game, not for fans, not for, because there was some cool announcements of merch and stuff, some of which I've already pre-ordered. I love the little goblin stuffed animal. I think it's amazing. So excited. But they keep talking about things in-game that players can get excited about for the 20th anniversary. With the lead up to this huge 5-hour stream celebrating the 20th anniversary, I think most of the community thought this was going to be where they announced what that was. And that left a lot of, I think, sour taste in people's mouths, because that wasn't what happened. What we did find out was official announcements of a new Rima level weapon, these dark relics, whatever they're going to be, are coming. Imperium +2 and +3 upgrades. It sounds like the +2, again, this is all based on the translation from Funkworks, so if there is some mistranslation there, no frustration at Funkworks, just saying, it's hard to get we haven't gotten an official what do you say, Square Enix translation. This is fan-based translations. The +2 is apparently soloable event, which I guess kind of mirrors how the +2 stuff, like with Omen, work, where you can pretty much solo everything you'd need, and then the +3, you'd have to fight the bosses for those materials. But it sounds like +3 is harder, +2 is mostly soloable, despite that probably taking a while, and that's coming in somewhere like maybe June. Excited to see that, but again, we knew that was coming. That isn't really a surprise. We knew from either hints and various conversations with, I swear we actually officially knew that new Rima weapons were coming. We knew the Imperium +2 and +3 were coming. They've been talking about it for years. To be honest, it's a little delayed at this point. I think the reason I'm not more excited about that, besides the fact that we knew it was coming, was that that's just more of the same. We have been getting those level of updates to the game through various new content for a while, which is fantastic, and I'd love to see it in 11, but it doesn't strike me as that big next thing, this like 20th anniversary, oh my gosh, we had 3 years of funding, +2, +3 upgrades for existing gear. Doesn't strike me as that. I don't think it is, but we'll get to that. But that was sort of how it ended. Again, there was a lot of celebration over, favorite fun facts about the history of the development, which I'd love to see more specific translations of. It's kind of hard to get that right now. I'm sure in time the amazing community will, minute by minute translate that entire Firepower video. But I hate that we have to rely on community involvement to do that. And it's very cool to see them celebrating favorite zones and favorite soundtracks from the game, and all that was really cool. New merchandise. I love seeing 11 merch. I will buy practically everything they sell for Final Fantasy 11 because there's been so little true Final Fantasy 11 merch versus games like Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy 10 even, and some of the newer ones seem to get like tons of merch. I want that to be there for 11. I'll buy it. Please sell it to me. So it is cool to see all that. That's awesome. I love the celebration. But what I was hopeful for, what I was excited for, and again, that's on me. That's why I've been trying to wait to make this video, was what is coming. As a Final Fantasy 11 fan, I've kind of grown used. It almost has always added to the natural experience of 11 not seeming like a game, but more seeming like a world that you experience, where updates aren't always specifically defined. They're sort of loosely tossed out, like stuff is coming, and then it, almost like real life where you don't know exactly what's coming in the future, and then you're just sort of surprised when it arrives, which is fine. But in 2022, most games have a sort of roadmap that they're sharing with the players, with the community, saying this is where things are going, this is what you get excited about. And if they don't have that, it starts to make you worried that there really isn't a long-term plan, or there isn't a ton to get excited about, and on paper it would look like a really thin resume or something, where it's just like two things, bullet point, like Empyrean +2 June, Empyrean +3 September. You know what I'm saying? But 11 has never really had that. You sort of get like a week before, they're like, hey, an update's coming, guess what, Paladin's getting hit, and you're like, oh my gosh, Paladin. And then you get the update and you find out what that was. But you don't get that usually months in advance. It's never been Square Enix's approach, and it's never been what I've expected with Final Fantasy 11. But at this point, they've been dangling this carrot of the 20th anniversary and what's to come for 3 years now, and it's kept a lot of people engaged and brought back other players or new players that didn't think there was a lot to look forward to, and all of a sudden there's this huge thing on the horizon. They kept using this word huge, this big thing, and now here we are. It's like a week away. I forget what the actual date is. I said I gotta look this up. And they just did this huge stream, and there was like no mention of it. Nothing. And it makes me as a player worried that there really isn't a ton to look forward to. And if some of that is because of delays with the difficulties in development over the past couple of years, it's been a very strange time for all industries. And I know 2020 especially was incredibly hard and could have introduced tons of delays all over the place. And like, if that's the case, just communicate it. We're okay. We're adults for the most part. We've been playing this for 20 years. So at the very least, you can probably legally drink in the US if you've been playing Final Fantasy 11 since birth almost. My point being, I want to know what's coming. And even if you could only give vague hints or a timeline of when those announcements are going to be made, I thought that's what this was. I thought this was the announcement, like, hey, there's a big stream. Might want to watch it. And that's not really what it was. So if there is another date that things are being announced, again, I keep hearing rumors that the 16th or something, there's going to be some announcement. But again, it all seems like rumors. Like, where's the official stuff? Why not on Play Online? Final Fantasy XI's Play Online. Why aren't there timelines of when these announcements are coming, or when the actual changes themselves? There's nothing. And it makes me as a player hard to get super invested and excited, because I have no idea. I have no idea what's happening. And even as a content creator, like, I want to celebrate the game and these new changes and prepare for it, and prepare for how I'm going to share it with the community. And I don't really know how to do that. And I didn't mean to turn this into a rant. It's why I've waited to make this video. But at a time when we should be, as a community, celebrating the longevity of this incredible game, and really getting excited and hyped about the future of that game and where it's going, I'm left with more questions than answers, and just this sour taste in my mouth. But I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts. Did you watch the stream? Were you able to get more out of it than perhaps I was? Is it making you more excited for the future of 11? Are you still excited for the 20th anniversary thing? Whatever it is. I'm still hopeful for it, but the longer that this kind of goes out with very limited information makes me more and more concerned. So I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below, or join us on streams every Tuesday or Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have had a couple missed streams lately. Sorry about that, guys. The work's been kind of crazy. But in general, that is the time frame. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Not to bash Final Fantasy 11. I'm still incredibly hopeful for the future, but I don't know. This was tough. This was tough. I'll see you guys all next one. Peace out. Have a good one. Bye. That's not right. It's not even close. Forgot a button. Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back for another Hunt for Games Twitch stream.